The myth, the man, the legend, Morgan Blackhand. Rated as the #1 solo professional in the business by the Solo Fortune Annual 2020 Awards. If you made the mistake of crossing Militech, Mr. Blackhand is the last person you want to receive a visit from. So why is Morgan Blackhand relevant to Cyberpunk 2077? During the character creation screen from the recent gameplay demo, when deciding V's childhood hero, one of the options given is Morgan Blackhand, the Solo of Fortune. Solo Fortune is a reference to the Solo Fortune 2 supplement for Cyberpunk 2020 by R. Talsorian Games. So, who is Morgan Blackhand? While not quite as famous as rocker boy Johnny Silverhand, Morgan Blackhand, statistically speaking, was one of the deadliest characters from the Cyberpunk 2020 narrative. Described as a combat veteran, Morgan initially served in the army. A brief reference made to Morgan's life path suggests that as a rookie soldier, he once had to take lead of a special cyber soldier unit after the commander went full cyber psycho during a mission. After leaving the army, Morgan Blackhand felt misplaced. He was a highly trained killer who specialized in demolitions. Not many people wanted to hire him for a random mundane desk job. After surviving on the streets for a few months, Morgan Blackhand would fortuitously run into a notorious booster gang leader who apparently took a strong dislike to the Solo. Morgan Blackhand promptly dispatched him with such finesse that it impressed a Militech recruiter who happened to observe the scene. The recruiter made Mr. Blackhand an offer he could not refuse. Subsequently, Morgan Blackhand became a mercenary who took care of problems for Militech. Scant information is known about Morgan Blackhand's personal life, but his reputation for being the best in the solo business speaks for itself. Within the Cyberpunk 2020 narrative, Morgan Blackhand runs a training program which is considered to be indispensable for those wanting to enter the profession. There is also Blackhand's Street Weapons 2020 Guide, the definitive book on weaponry in Cyberpunk, but it offers no additional insights into the character. Morgan Blackhand also earned his street cred through resolving high-profile incidents, such as the attempted kidnapping of Kerry Eurodyne, a member of Johnny Silverhand's samurai band. In this particular scenario, all 5 of the kidnappers were captured by Morgan alone and turned over to federal authorities. While bruised, battered and beaten, they were still alive. In Cyberpunk 2020, any solo can pull a trigger and kill an adversary, but only a true master can simultaneously eliminate the threat and embarrass the opposition. Unsurprisingly, Morgan Blackhand had outstanding stats. Morgan Blackhand makes an appearance in the Cyberpunk 2020 referee guide. Listen up, you primitive screwheads. In Down and Dirty with Mike Pondsmith, Morgan Blackhand is portrayed as the archetypal solo character. Mike explains that Morgan is the best because he is alive. His success primarily revolves around his cautious approach in dealing with dangerous situations. During the Cyberpunk 2020 Stormfront campaign, Militech coaxed Morgan Blackhand into the fray to lead its Ocean War Special Ops team, although no details were provided of his missions. Described as the most famous living soldier of the 21st century, Blackhand has come through hundreds of ops with ease. His funding from Militech allowed him to subcontract a group of highly skilled and motivated freelancers, making them answerable only to him. Morgan Blackhand's final appearance came in the Cyberpunk guidebook Firestorm. Firestorm was an attempt to bridge the differences between the 2nd and 3rd edition of Cyberpunk rules. Set in 2024, Arasaka mobilized the Japanese Defense Force to take on Militech and the American military. Waves of cyber viruses corrupt databases worldwide, leaving the isolated Arasaka Tower's arcology in Night City the last viable data storage mainframe in the world. Militech gathers together a dream team consisting of the best operatives Cyberpunk has to offer, including Morgan Blackhand and Johnny Silverhand. After successfully planting the demolition charges, Morgan Blackhand's squad began the evacuation from the Arasaka Tower rooftop, only for Adam Smasher, Arasaka's cyborg assassin in a Dai-Oni battlesuit to confront him. While the building begins to shake from the detonation of the nuclear demolition charge, the two launch themselves at each other in a last, desperate attempt to kill their nemesis. The outcome of the duel is unknown. Given the time frame involved from 2020 to 2077, and that Morgan Blackhand probably did not survive a nuclear detonation, this would normally cast doubt on his inclusion in the Cyberpunk 2077 game. But one needs to remember that Cyberpunk 2077 is CDPR's version of Cyberpunk and not a direct sequel to Cyberpunk 2020. In CDPR's narrative and world building, Morgan Blackhand could be a contemporary character rather than a historical figure.